Before we get started in this video, I just want to quickly mention that I actually started a podcast with both George Mario Nerd and the Game Dimension, so I'll have the first episode linked in the description below. We basically talk about the Mario RPGs and just how we feel about each certain thing about it. So I'd really appreciate it if you check out that first episode, watch the whole thing through. I'm definitely more casual there. Obviously these videos are trying to be a bit more formal, not really trying to make jokes, because I'm not that funny. But when I'm by people or try to make jokes more often, I just try to have more fun. So if you want to see that side of me, check out that podcast. I'd really appreciate it. But other than that, let's get started on this video. I don't really care about giant battles too much. I'm pretty sure everyone that's been by my channel kind of knows this. I mean, I'd rather just fight a normal boss that has normal attacks and let you use your normal bros attacks. But no, of course, you're gonna have a little bit of an interesting way to battle. I mean, I'm not opposed to that, but I don't like what they did with giant battles. I mean, I genuinely hate some of these giant battles, but since I hate some of them, it's gonna be very interesting to talk about them. So I decided I'm gonna rank all 9 giant battles from both Dream Team and Bowser's Inside Story. And I know I've already ranked both the giant battles from Dream Team and Bowser's Inside Story individually, but I decided to combine the lists. Because why not? And I'm not going to be including the papercraft battles, because even though they're technically giant battles, they're not interesting to me in the slightest. I don't actually care about them at all. So you know what? I'm not going to include them. But before we actually start this video, I am still trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before summer break starts. So really appreciate if you subscribe, or tell a Mario RPG fan to subscribe that isn't subscribed yet. I'd really appreciate that. But other than that, let's get started on this ranking. I really enjoy hard mode in Dream Team. I think that adding that made the replay value in Dream Team just bump up like crazy. But I don't think it was a good idea to add that difficulty to giant battles, because it made the attacks from other giant battles really difficult to dodge. The problem with this though is that the way to dodge is using the touch screen and motion controls. This was not a good idea at all. But most importantly, it makes my least favorite boss battle in all of the Mario and Luigi games. Yep. It never changed. Since I made that original giant battle ranking for Dream Team, my least favorite giant battle and my least favorite boss in the Mario and Luigi games still won't change. Yep, you know what it is. I genuinely still hate Giant Bowser. I know how many people like this fight. Heck, I used to like this fight. But when I played it on hard mode, all that enjoyment just got wiped. Obviously, if you've been on my channel for a long time, you know the story. I'll say it again, though. Every single time I got to Giga Giant Bowser, I always lost. Every single attack that Giga Giant Bowser did, I could not dodge. Mainly because I didn't have a stylus, but also because hard mode buffs his attacks like crazy. So I continuously just died. And I lost all my HP and I had to restart the fight. Now this fight, before we get to Giga Giant Bowser, is around 10 to 12 minutes. We'll go with 10 for this. Now, if you multiply 10 by 20, that's a long time. That's like 3.5 hours almost. That I'm basically just redoing this fight. That's not fun. Now, obviously, the first phase, I know people are going to be saying that this fight has unique attacks, and I agree with that. The problem, though, is that when you do this fight 20 times, it's just so boring to me, especially because you memorize exactly how to dodge these attacks, because it's the exact same pattern, and it's really boring because of it. So the first phase is boring, then you get the Beyblade section. I mastered the Beyblade section. I don't even care about it anymore. I don't even think it's bad, it's just kind of boring. It's actually probably the best part of the fight to me right now. And that's really controversial, but mainly because it's so action-oriented, and I mastered the way to actually control Luigi. That's the only reason I somewhat enjoy this part. But then, you get to Giga Giant Bowser. I've already explained it. I hate this part. This is my least favorite giant battle, and most importantly, my least favorite boss battle in the Mario and Luigi franchise. I genuinely hate this phase, because every single time I tried to attack, I messed up. And I even brought out my Wii U gamepad stylus, and I still could not dodge these guys' attacks. It's just extremely annoying. And then there's a Star Rocket, which is also just kind of annoying, because if you mess up once, your progress gets reset. Thank God I have like adrenaline in my body, and I did not mess up at all. I completely mastered the Star Rocket, and I did really well. Thank God for that. I hate this fight, genuinely. I see the enjoyment for people that play it on normal mode. Again, I used to like it, But check out my video on Do I Like Giant Bowser. It might be lacking on quality, I'm not sure, to see my full opinion on it, and mainly me responding to comments, people saying why they actually like Giant Bowser. I'm never gonna like this fight after this experience. And you may be saying, oh, it's just a bad experience. The problem with it though is that because I played this fight so many times, I completely null to everything there. The unique attacks, the enjoyment's gone. It doesn't matter to me. I just want to get this fight over with every single time I deal with it. And this is why Giant Bowser is my least favorite fight in the whole Mario and Luigi franchise. I genuinely despise this fight. The Z-Keeper is the only giant battle I see people disliking both with normal mode and hard mode. I don't like this fight at all. I mean, in hard mode, it's so infuriating to fight, because you have to pull off your counterattacks perfectly. If you don't, the Z-Keeper will get faster and you'll slow down. You won't be able to catch up with the Z-Keeper and it's very annoying. And even traveling through dimensions, I don't even think is that bad. I just think that it's kind of boring. I mean, it looks cool, but I think that it just goes on for way too long. Again, I mastered the motion controls. I didn't want to, but that's what I had to do. That's just not fun that I had to master something that I didn't want to. So because of this, the Z-Keeper sucks. I think that it had good concepts. I mean, the Z-Keeper constantly running away from you, and you having to use counterattacks to make it go slower, and then you having to actually just ram it to the ground and make it dizzy. That's a good concept. I think it could have worked. I really wish that the attacks were easier to dodge. Again, hard mode buffed its attacks too much. Way too much. And this is why I don't like the Z-Keeper. I don't despise it like with Giant Bowser, which is why it's only at number 8 and not at number 9, but I still do not like this fight at all. Out of every single giant battle, I not only think that Mount Pajamaja is the most boring, I also think it's the most forgettable, which is not a good combination that you want. I mean, the only thing that I actually remember from this fight is that Mount Pajamaja grows huge, he grows taller with more volcano parts, and you have to use the hammer chop or the hammer uppercut to knock him away. I don't like the over-reliance on the hammer uppercut. Yes, you learn it here, but with the first fight, you're not just constantly using the hammer chop jump and the rhythm mushroom. You're not just constantly using one of them, you're using every single one. So because of this, I don't like the over-reliance on the hammer uppercut here, because you're going to be using the hammer uppercut for every single giant battle after this one. So I'm already kind of tired of it after this giant battle. And also, I don't like that you have to do a hammer uppercut, and then you have to do a jump or a drill. Oh yeah, you learn the drill here. I don't like the over-reliance on the drill to do a lot of damage, because I had to do jumps because I'm not good at the drill at all. So it's very annoying. I don't really care about this fight too much at all. I mean, this fight is so boring to me. It could be good for some people. I mean, on hard mode, it's not really that difficult because its attacks are not that hard to dodge. It's just a boring fight. There's nothing here for me. I don't know why I ranked Bowser's Castle over the Tower of Yik. I mean, this boss battle is okay. I mean, this is the first okay giant battle on this list, but it's not better than the Tower of Yik. I mean, again, the Tower of Yik has problems, but come on. Bowser's Castle is basically the tutorial for giant battles, and it works. It works well, and this is probably why I ranked it over the Tower of Yik originally, but come on. It's a tutorial boss. It's not gonna be that in-depth. It's pretty basic. So because of this, I ranked it somewhat low. I mean, there's really nothing to it. Just dodge its attacks and punch. There's nothing unique about it, especially compared to other giant battles in both Dream Team and in Bowser's Inside Story. I think this is the most basic giant battle, and that's why it ranks so low. Obviously, it's not bad, but it definitely needed more to it. I think the Robo Drill Digger does really well on teaching you what you need to know in other giant battles. Like, my favorite part about the giant battle is that you have a really big sand tornado, and then the Robo Drill Digger just puts himself inside, and then he either is flying on the ground or just normal, and you either have to use the hammer chop, a jump, or you can use either if he's just in normal mode. The thing about that is that it teaches you about signs in giant battles. That is a really good way to do it. I also like that you have to use the hammer chop randomly to knock him into another sand tornado in the distance. That works really well. I think that the Robo Drill Digger works really well as a first giant battle. It's a really good tutorial, but compared to other giant battles, mainly the giant battles in Bowser Inside Story, it's not that great. I'm sorry. I think that this is a good way to teach people, but to be honest, I think that it's just kind of boring to me. It's in the middle of the road. For every single giant battle, it plays right in the middle, and I think that fits really well. The Tower of Yik just feels like a worse version of Earthquake, or shall I say, a watered-down version. Ha, get it? Because you have to use your powerful attacks and knock him into the water. I'll shut up now. So, I mean, I like the Tower of Yik. It's a good fight. The first good fight on this ranking. The problem with it, though, is that it takes so many elements from even Super Peach's Castle of Fury and Earthquake that it's just not that interesting to me anymore. Because those two giant battles, I mean, we haven't talked about them. I mean, they're really good. They're really fun. But Tower of Yik, I mean, there's really only one thing interesting about it, and that is that you can't actually do any damage at all if it is above water. That is good, and I think that part works. The problem, though, is that that's the only thing interesting about it. I mean, the attacks aren't even that interesting. They aren't even that unique. I mean, Earthquake has better attacks, so because of this, the Tower of Yik isn't that good, even though it definitely is the first good giant battle on this list. I just think that it needed more unique concepts compared to stuff like Earthquake and Super Peach's Castle of Fury. I mean, I like those fights way more. I'd rather fight those compared to Tower of Yik, which is why it's only at number 4. Earthquake is a really good giant battle. I have a lot of fun with it, and it's the first giant battle on this list that I genuinely enjoy. It also is my favorite giant battle from Dream Team. Earthquake is a great giant battle. I really like the concepts and the attacks. First off, the concepts. I like that you have to knock him into the water. I think it's more satisfying to constantly hit him with a hammer than it is just to punch him once with the Tower of Yik. I mean, punching is nice, but just once, it's not really that action-packed, and it's kind of boring to me. I also like that you can't really 2 or 3 cycle them. I mean, you could try, and you'll get close, but you won't get too close where it's actually just a really easy fight. That's a really good thing, and I really enjoy that as well. I also like the armor that he just gradually gets. Sometimes he just gets full armor, where you have it on its sides and on his head, and you have to use a drill to get rid of it. The reason why I'm fine with this, though, is that you don't need to get a good, a great, or an excellent. An okay works. And since I'm terrible with the drill, I'm fine with this, and I actually think it's a great way to do it. That's the thing, and that's why I really enjoy the armor as well. I also really enjoy the attacks with Earthquake. My favorite attack is the ball. If you just jump on a ball that he summons and roll into him, I think that's a really fun attack, and it's a really great way to control with motion controls. Probably one of the only ways that motion controls work really well in 3DS. So because of that, I think that I really enjoy the attacks here. And I just like Earthquake in general. I mean, Earthquake is a really fun fight. All these examples, all these puzzles, Earthquake is amazing. They do everything with giant battles really well. The only reason it's not any higher is because, well, I just like the other giant battles higher. I just like them better. They're more fun. And this is why Earthquake's only number 3. But I gotta say, being my favorite giant battle from Dream Team is a great accomplishment. I really enjoy Super Peach's Castle of Fury. I think it has really good attacks, and I also think that the black hole concept is amazing. I think that replacing the water with the Tower of Yik and Earthquake with the black hole is extremely creative, and it works really well. I think that knocking Super Peach's Castle of Fury into the black hole is a good concept, especially because Super Peach's Castle of Fury becomes immune and it becomes a barrier and you can't do any damage to it. So it works really well. I also like that the last phase just has you, Bowser, and the Super Peach's Castle of Fury both in black holes, and you just have to go out of the black hole to try to damage Super Peach's Castle of Fury as much as possible. But you can only do it when he's not holding spike hands. That works extremely well. This last phase is really good. I also just like that if you get knocked into the black hole yourself, you can come out and just hit Super Peach's Castle of Fury for a couple of damage. That also works really well. I really like the attacks here. I really like that you get to turn into a spike ball and roll into Super Peach's Castle of Fury. It probably has the most creative attacks out of any giant battle in the Mario and Luigi franchise. It doesn't mean that it's the best, but it definitely means that it's really fun and extremely unique. That means that I really like this fight. I mean, it has such unique attacks, it has really good concept, it has to be number 2. The only reason it's not number 1 is because I just like number 1 better, and it probably has the best concept for any giant battle. Fawful Express, out of every single giant battle we talked about, has the best concept. I really like the concept of the Fawful Express trying to get away from you. And yes, the Z-Keeper does this, but the Fawful Express does it even better, because there's obstacles in the pathway, where the Z-Keeper is just running away as long as possible. It's just gonna be an endless forest. Here, I mean, there's a lot of obstacles. There's a huge rock. There's 2 of them, in fact. And the Fawful Express shoots a huge missile at you, and you have to punch like crazy to try to not get hit by it. There's also a huge grass monster, which is extremely unique. The Fawful Express goes inside of it, and you can either do punches to get rid of, the grass monster right away. You just punch it, and damage is huge. The other thing, though, is that you can use fire, and that actually damages the Fawful Express itself. So because of this, fire is still the optimal play to use. Oh yeah, you can't actually damage the Fawful Express with punches. You have to use flames. And this is people's biggest critique with it. And that's fair. I mean, I don't like the controls in Giant Bowser, but here I'm completely fine with the flames, mainly because you have a lot of chance to master the flames. I'm not saying it's that good. I really wish that it was kind of mapped to a button like it was in the remake, but I don't really have that big of a complaint with it anymore. I can definitely see people still struggling with that, though. I just gotta say, I really like the attacks here. I really like the unique concepts, and this is why Fawful Express is my favorite giant battle in all the Mario and Luigi franchise. Thank you guys for watching this video. My next video will be on one of the Mario RPGs, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm getting really lazy with uploads right now, so just expect anything. So because of this, I'm gonna see you guys in the next video, whenever that is. Hopefully in the next 3 days. I'll see you guys then. Of course, subscribe if you lasted this long. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. I really appreciate it. But other than that, G-bye.